Have you ever met someone who drains your energy in just a few minutes? No matter what you say, they argue. No matter how calm you stay, they provoke. And somehow, they always leave you frustrated. The truth is, dealing with difficult people is not about being stronger. It's about understanding the psychology behind their behavior. And science has already shown exactly how to handle them. By the end of this video, you'll know the proven psychological strategies that instantly change how people treat you. Difficult people exist everywhere. At work, in family, in friendships, even in relationships. Some are aggressive. Some manipulate emotionally. Some never listen. And some seem to enjoy creating conflict. But here's what psychology tells us. People rarely act difficult for no reason. Their behavior often comes from emotional triggers, insecurity, cognitive bias, stress, or the need for control. When you understand the reason behind the behavior, you stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently. Let's break this down scientifically. Rule 1: Never react immediately, the neuroscience rule. The first scientifically proven rule is: never react instantly. Why? Because when someone attacks, insults, or provokes you, your brain activates the amygdala. This is the part responsible for fight or flight responses. Your body releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. That's why your heartbeat rises and you feel the urge to respond emotionally. But neuroscience research shows that reacting in this state usually makes conflict worse. Instead, pause. Even a 3 to 5 second silence can calm your nervous system. That pause gives control back to your prefrontal cortex, the rational decision-making part of the brain. This is why calm people always seem more powerful. They respond. They don't react. Rule 2: Use the gray rock method. This method is widely recommended in psychology for dealing with manipulative, toxic, or drama-seeking individuals. The principle is simple. Become emotionally uninteresting. No anger. No over-explaining. No emotional fuel. Just neutral responses. For example, instead of saying, "Why do you always talk to me like this?" say, "Okay, I understand." Short. Calm. Neutral. Difficult people often feed on emotional reactions. When they stop getting that energy, their behavior often loses intensity. This is called extinction in behavioral psychology. A behavior that is no longer rewarded starts fading. Rule 3: Set clear boundaries, behavioral psychology. One of the most scientifically supported ways to deal with difficult people is boundary setting. Psychology research consistently shows that people repeat behaviors that are tolerated. If someone disrespects you and nothing happens, their brain learns that the behavior is acceptable. This is reinforcement. That's why boundaries are necessary. For example, I'm happy to talk, but not if the conversation becomes disrespectful. Simple. Clear. Confident. No aggression. Boundaries teach people how to treat you. Rule 4: Don't mirror their emotion. This is one of the biggest mistakes people make. Someone becomes angry, and you match their anger. Now two emotional brains are fighting. Psychologists call this emotional contagion. Emotions spread between people. Anger creates more anger. Stress creates more stress. But calmness can also spread. When your tone remains steady, the other person often subconsciously starts regulating themselves. This is linked to mirror neurons in the brain. People unconsciously copy the emotional state in front of them. So instead of matching their chaos, become the emotional anchor. Rule 5: Ask questions instead of arguing. Scientifically, questions reduce defensiveness. Statements create resistance. Questions create reflection. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," ask, "What makes you see it that way?" This shifts the conversation from conflict to cognition. Now they must think instead of attack. This technique is used in negotiation psychology and conflict resolution. Questions make people feel heard. And when people feel heard, their aggression decreases. Rule 6: Identify their hidden need. Many difficult behaviors come from unmet psychological needs. Sometimes it's attention. Sometimes control. Sometimes validation. Sometimes insecurity. For example, a constantly critical person may actually be deeply insecure. An aggressive person may be feeling powerless. Psychology teaches us to look beyond the behavior. Ask yourself, what emotional need is driving this? Once you understand the need, their behavior starts making sense. And people are easier to handle when they make sense. Rule 7: Know when to walk away. Science also supports strategic withdrawal. Not every conflict deserves your energy. Some people do not want understanding. They want control. They want reaction. They want emotional chaos. In such cases, the most intelligent response is distance. Protecting your mental peace is not weakness. It's psychological maturity. Sometimes silence is the strongest answer. Difficult people are not always powerful. They often appear powerful because they control your emotions. The moment you stop giving them that control, everything changes. Remember, pause before reacting. Stay emotionally neutral. Set boundaries. Ask questions. Protect your peace. Psychology is not about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself. And once you do that, difficult people lose their power over you. Difficult people will always exist. But once you understand the science behind human behavior, you stop becoming their victim. You start seeing patterns. You start protecting your peace. And most importantly, you start controlling your own reactions. That is real psychological power. If this video helped you understand people better, then make sure to subscribe to the channel, because here we break down human psychology, behavior, dark psychology, and scientifically proven mind strategies in the most practical way. And trust me, the next video might completely change the way you read people. Subscribe now and become mentally stronger than 99% of people around you.